Can you believe that it's already July? I cannot believe. Where has the year gone? Well, actually, I know where the year's gone. Yeah, I can't even believe that it's already July. Half the year has gone by. And so today what I want to talk about is what we might want to think about looking forward to the next 6 months. And what do you want to do for the next 6 months? Hey there, thank you so much for being here. My name is Felicia from Sweet Georgia, and this is Taking Back Friday. This is a space, well, this is actually my attic, but this is a place where we come every Friday and we talk about knitting and spinning and weaving and dyeing. I talk about the fiber arts. I also talk a lot about how important it is to make time to make things. And again, it's not about the things specifically, it's more about the process and the journey and what you learn by spending that time doing the things that you love to do. So today I want to talk a little bit about how it's already July. It's already halfway through the year. And July is already, it's always a good time to kind of take a break, to take a rest and recollect yourself, looking forward to the next 6 months of the year and what you're thinking about maybe doing or how you maybe think about spending that time. This is a good time of year to do that mid-year check-in. Look at your goals that you had set in January 2020 before the world flipped upside down. I mean, look at the goals that you had set for yourself back in January or at the beginning of the year. What kinds of things did you want to accomplish? Maybe you're doing a Make 9 and you're wondering about what's your progress towards your Make 9. Have you made 4.5 pieces so far from your Make 9 list of projects? Or do you have other things that you've sort of been distracted by and been working on? It's a good time to check in on all those things and think about what kind of progress you have made and what kind of progress you want to make by the end of the year. Now, this week is what? It's like week 15, 16 since we had our lockdown begin in BC. And now things are starting to very gradually open up. I think BC is in phase 3 of reopening. Everyone in every different location of the world is experiencing something completely different. And so it has been many months of new routines and new schedules and new life. The way that we do things is completely different now. And because all of this stuff is new, everything needs reimagining. It also means that your craft life and the things that you do with your spare time, your free time, those things can also be reimagined as well. So during this time, our family life has obviously changed significantly, with the kids at home and us working from home and all things like that. Between my husband and I, we both also picked up different but new hobbies, sort of. So he started to learn how to cook for pretty much the first time, but it was all sort of sparked by this book that he received I think it's called Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, and there's a Netflix show that kind of goes along with this cookbook, and so he started reading that and started picking recipes out of that and started cooking those things, and it's been fantastic. So he's sort of like dived into learning this new hobby for him, exploring a whole new area, because he has sort of like a different balance of time now. There's no time commuting to work, there's no time commuting to downtown. And so all of that time saved, he is kind of like reallocated to learning this new thing. For me, because, I've always worked at home, but working now at home and trying to fit in other things that are, self-care kind of activities is very interesting. So the thing that I picked up over the past couple of weeks, or many weeks, months, has been baking sourdough bread. And I think it was all sparked by the fact that I couldn't find any flour and couldn't find any yeast, or at least I heard that you couldn't find flour, couldn't find yeast in the grocery store. And so when you can't have something, it makes you want it that much more. And so then I became obsessed with this idea of making sourdough because then I don't need to buy commercial yeast. And so that whole journey has been probably about 2 months now into it, and baked a bunch of sourdough bread. I make sourdough pancakes every week. Like, this whole new rabbit hole is something that I find very, very restorative, very calming, and it has been fantastic and wonderful. I really, really, really enjoyed that. Those of you might have already heard me say this before, but Sweet Georgia as a blog that I started back in 2004, originally I started that blog because I was going to talk about baking bread, and my whole goal at the end of that was to somehow open a bakery. That's why I named it Sweet Georgia, because I thought that it would be a cute name for a bakery. And within like a a post or two of writing that blog, I started writing more about knitting. And so the blog very quickly became a blog about knitting, not about baking bread. And I just continued along the fiber arts journey, and that's where we are today. But I kept the name that was supposed to be for a bakery. So that's just an interesting fact. If you ever were curious about where the name came from, that's where it is. So at the beginning of the pandemic, we actually had quite a number of people sort of approach us asking us for more fundamental or basic knitting tutorials, because a lot of people who were not picking up learning how to cook or learning how to bake sourdough bread were learning how to knit for sometimes the very first time. And so Tabitha developed a whole bunch of courses and tutorials teaching people sort of step by step how to knit. Now, one of the things that we have created for this month, is more tutorials about this particular shawl pattern that I want to share with you. So this is a lovely crescent shawl that's called Cumberland, and this shawl, you can see, is knit from a brand new sock blank that we are putting out, and this sock blank is called Daydream. And I think it's very apropos, right? July, it's a good time right now. Take a break, take a breath, and do some daydreaming about what it looks like to live your life. You know, for the next 6 months, what is it going to be like? What other things can you do in your life? What new things can you learn? What new things can you pick up? So this is the sock blank that the shawl is knit out of. This is what it looks like when you sort of get it. This is with a label and all that kind of stuff. And then when you wind it into a ball, it will look like this. I love it. I love how it looks just like a sunshine. Kind of like, I love it. This colorway was one of my absolute favorites. This is one that we dyed many, many years ago for our monthly fiber club or sock yarn club. And it was called Daydream. I love these colors together. They're just so happy and they're dreamy and I love them. So that's the sock blank. Here it is rolled up into a ball. Same thing. And then this is the shawl pattern called Cumberland to make this particular shawl. And you can see that there's this funky little edging here. Maybe you can see. So this edging is actually a crocheted cast off. It's a crochet bind off technique. And so Tabitha has also created a brand new tutorial teaching you how to do this particular bind off technique. But otherwise, crescent shawls are very, very simple to knit. You can see it's one of those shawl patterns where you cast on just a few stitches at the very top, and then you gradually go back and forth and you increase on either side, and then it becomes this beautiful circle, half circle, crescent shape. So that is available right now in the SweetGeorgia shop. The other thing that I have to share with you, this is just going to take a little break, and then I'm going to talk about Make 9 and all that kind of stuff. But I want to share these with you because they are so adorable. Leah has been designing so many stitch markers and so many ideas for stitch markers, and they're all super adorable. But she started this idea probably last year sometime, and I think I saw a prototype and I was like, oh my God, we have to have these. They're so adorable. I'm going to attempt to show it to you here, but I think I'm going to have to take a picture for you. But these stitch markers that she has designed are basically tiny little translucent popsicles that have tiny little fruit slices in them. They're so cute. But basically there's one that has dragon fruit in it. That's hot pink. My daughter, Nina, is in love with this one. So in love with this one. There's one that looks kind of like a lemonade one with blood orange slices in it, grapefruit slices in it, lemon grapefruit, something like that. Super cute. And then one that's like orange with orange slices in it. One that is lime with lime slices in it. And one that's kind of like a frosty pink color with tiny little strawberries in it. It's so adorable. Yeah, I always say that I love working with Leah's stitch markers because they're these miniature, adorable things that are, it's kind of like dollhouse things where you go into this and there's just a whole other world of things that are just so tiny and so adorable. And to have that sort of pop out and appear to you, you know, once every row or, you know, several times along a round or something like that, it's just these little perks of joy all the way around. So these, yeah, they are so cute. So these are available as a set of 5. So it's a great thing if you know, are making a sweater and you need to mark off, you know, beginning of sleeve and then beginning of the next sleeve and beginning of the next sleeve and all of that kind of stuff. That's a perfect time to use a set of stitch markers like this. Super, super adorable. So Daydream shawl, Cumberland pattern, super cute, summery popsicle stitch markers for your summer project. That's all fantastic and wonderful. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy those items. Now, talking more about this idea of daydreaming for the next 6 months and what you want to do, this is a really good time to like look at your list of things that you had set out to do, your goals, and renegotiate those goals. Are they things, you go by them like one at a time and just go down the list. Is this something I still want to make? Is this something that I should delay for later? Is this something that I don't want to do anymore? And it's okay to change what your plans were. Life changes. Things completely change. It's okay to throw the whole thing out if you like and say, you know, life is really different now and I'm going to start over with new ideas and new plans, new goals altogether. That's totally okay. Now for me, in terms of my progress and where I've been going and what I've been doing, I mean, like this sweater, this cardigan pattern, this was on my Make 9, so I feel very, very pleased that I finished this one. That one's off my Make 9. There was a couple of other things that were on my Make 9 that I have made, so I made a whole bunch of those hand-woven sock blank scarves and really enjoyed that project. And there were some other things on there. So I've been revisiting my Make 9 and seeing, am I getting to the place where I want to be? Now, I have been for the past couple of months doing a lot of knitting, and a lot of the knitting has kind of jumped up in front of me as I move down my path. So maybe they're distractions, but they've jumped in front of me and taken away attention and said, hey, you should knit me right now. And so I've been doing a lot of that kind of knitting. But I think that July is a really great time to take that break. And I found for myself that in the evenings, rather than picking up my knitting, what I have been actually wanting to do is to do a little bit more spinning. And so I actually plied off a whole bunch of bobbins that were sitting around and made a whole bunch of skeins of yarn. So there's some yarn here. I should probably figure out how much yardage there is and do all those kinds of calculations, but there's one skein of that, there's one skein of this. I think these are all sort of BFL and silk. Yeah, they're not pretty skeins right now because they were just wound off using my elbow, and then I washed them and then I hung them up to dry. So they're not even pretty manicured, perfect looking skeins. They are just the way they are. And I think that rather than winding them up into beautiful skeins, I might just wind them into balls and start knitting with them right away. So I've been doing a lot of spinning. I think it's been sort of inspired by a couple weeks ago we did the supported spindle class with Debbie Held. And so if you've never seen a supported spindle before, this is one of my favorite ones. So this one is a Jim Leslie design. Now, supported spindles seem to be a little bit tricky to find online, and so you kind of have to follow the people who design them and make them and kind of stalk them a little bit until they post something and then you can grab it. But I have been playing with the supported spindles a little bit more. This one is, I love it. It comes with a matching bowl that I got. Yeah, these are beautiful. So I've been playing a little bit with that, you know, a little bit something new, trying something new. It's been living in my box of spindles. I have a whole bunch of sort of Russian spindles and things like that that have been here for a number of years that I haven't really spent that much time with. So I've been playing with this whenever I have a few hands free. The other thing that I've been playing with more is the e-spinner. So the Ashford E-SPINNER, I just carried my cart upstairs. But the Ashford E-SPINNER is what I have been spinning all these big skeins on, and it's great. So one of the projects that I'm working on right now, well, this is some fiber that I finished. I think this is Polworth and silk. So this one needs to be wound off onto storage bobbins. Basically, I have it's going to be a 2-ply yarn, and I basically split the fiber in two and then spun both halves onto one bobbin, and it's got like a little delimiter, something that marks the first half from the second half. And so I'm going to wind off all of this yarn onto weaving bobbins, and then when I hit that mark that indicates that this is the halfway point, then I split it and then put it onto a second bobbin, and then those two weaving bobbins I'm going to ply together to make my 2-ply yarn. So that's what's going to happen with this. So I think this is the tapestry color, and I believe it's Polworth and silk. I really should write things down because I have the worst memory. Yes, so the other thing that I have had on my list, and it's on my Make 9, it's been on my list for forever, but it's that shift cowl. And so what I wanted to do was, I had showed you guys this before, I dyed a bunch of leftover fiber at the retreat that we had at Whistler it seems like so long ago, but it was only like less than a year ago. But I dyed a bunch of leftover fiber using leftover dye that was left over by the students in the dye class. So that's one of the bundles. This is another one of the bundles. And then on the wheel right now is, you can maybe see, maybe I'll take a picture of this, but I've spun sort of the reddish one, and now I'm spinning the greenish one, and then I will spin the sort of halfway brownish one. And these 3 skeins that will come out of this whole spinning process will become the 3 colors that I use for the shift cowl. So that is on my Make 9, and I'm making progress towards that. So it's feeling very good about that whole thing. If you've never worked with an e-spinner before, it's awesome. It's fantastic. Yeah, so I got this e-spinner. It's an Ashford E-SPINNER 3. I got this after Knit City last fall, and I just love it. It's fantastic. So it has like a power pack, or I got a power pack that I can attach to it, and so it's portable. I can take it anywhere. I don't have to be connected to anything. But if you want to, you can just get an extension cord and then just kind of take it anywhere. But I keep it on this cart, and then this cart I can wheel around to wherever I'm going, and I can spin in basically any room. So it's amazing. The bobbins, you can see, are humongous. So I am nowhere near finished putting stuff on this bobbin. I could add probably another entire braid of fiber. I could maybe do that. But I kind of want to see what this looks like plied up. So yeah. But yeah, like I've said before with an e-spinner, it's really, really great because it just keeps turning. It just keeps going. And it kind of forces you to be consistent with drafting. You just have to keep going along with it. You can't really pause or fuss or look at your fiber too much, or, be doing too many things. You just kind of end up developing this rhythm that's very consistent and continuous. And the less that you stop to look at your fiber and fuss and twist and all this kind of stuff, then the more time you save and the more yardage you can complete with this e-spinner. So yeah, I have been spinning a lot in the evenings now instead of knitting. I've sort of gravitated to this. And again, I kind of feel like it's because seasons change, it's summer now, there's different things that I want to do, and it's time kind of like for a little bit of a refresh, a little bit of a change, a little bit of changing things up. So this fiber that I'm spinning right now, this is just superwash BFL, but once this is done, I'm going to go back to, or I really should go back to, this one that I've had forever and ever and ever, and this is a yak and silk blend, which I love. And I love it so much that I feel like it's too precious to spin, and that's why it's just taking me forever. But this is a yak and silk. Besides that, I also have acquired a bunch of other fiber that I want to spin, and that is that we are also making Targhee fiber that is not superwash. So this is a fiber that is 100% wool, 100% Targhee wool. It's very springy, very bouncy. When you spin this yarn, it just comes out so kind of crisp and spongy at the same time. It's wonderful. So I'm really looking forward to this. This one happens to be called Tofino Road Trip. This is the colors of our Party of Five. We just dyed it on fiber, so that's one of these. And this other one is called Spring Fling. So this is another one of our Party of Five colorways that we just happen to use to hand paint the fiber. So two braids of this Targhee fiber that eventually I want to spin. And then also on the cart, I want to show you this beautiful thing. This beautiful thing. Look at this. This amazing bat that is larger than my head came from Katrina Stewart at Crafty Jack's when we were on that fiber arts retreat. She made me this bat. So she made me this bat using her ginormous drum carder. And there's bits of sari silk in here. There's bits of silk in here. There's beautiful things in here. There's so many colors. There's orange and hot pink and turquoise and so many beautiful things. So she made all of this on her carder. And if you're interested in anything like this, actually Katrina teaches a class for us on the School of Sweet Georgia called Carding for Color. And so she teaches how to use a drum carder, how to use a blending board, you know, all these things. This is her specialty, is making these beautiful carded fibers. It's really lovely. So this has been sitting on my cart for a couple of months. This is something that I'd also really like to spin. So I'm getting all excited about new things to do. Now with all these things that I could be spinning every single day. Now, the one thing that I've never, ever committed to is spinning for Tour de Fleece. And Tour de Fleece, if you don't know, is a sort of like a spin along where you spin every single day that the Tour de France is supposed to run. It just seemed like a very large commitment that I was not able to do. A Spinzilla is only 1 week, and I found it difficult to spin every single day for an entire week. So I can't imagine what it would be like to spin every single day for a month. But I might actually inadvertently do it just by spinning a little bit every day. I will try to record my progress as I go. If you are at all interested in learning more about how to work with an e-spinner, Debbie Held, who taught our supported spindle class, she's coming back in a couple of weeks to teach an e-spinner workshop. So anybody who is already a member of the School of Sweet Georgia will have access to a link to be able to register for that Zoom class. So basically the workshop is going to be held over Zoom as kind of like a presentation format, a webinar format. So Debbie will show you a bunch of different e-spinners. She'll talk about techniques. She'll talk about how to do it. And everybody who's watching the presentation can ask questions, and then we'll go through and make sure everybody's questions are answered. So that is actually happening on the rest day of Tour de Fleece. And so that is Monday, July the 13th. We're going to do it at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So all you need to do if you want to participate in that class is to just sign up for the school, and you'll be able to find your way to that spinning class and then sign up for the Zoom webinar there. So that's about it for this week. I basically have been doing a lot of spinning, less so knitting. I'm right now knitting the Breathe and Hope shawl, which requires more concentration than I have right now. And so I'm thinking about what I should be doing is actually picking up and knitting some socks. I need some socks to take with me to the bike park. So I need a very simple project, a very portable project that I can carry with me. And yeah, so that's what I might be doing. Maybe I will knit socks out of these. Oh, check it out. Are you coming in while I'm filming?
Yeah.
Yeah? You can come up?
When can we go biking?
Really?
Biking. It is biking time, right?
Can you wait till I finish this?
Fine. Bye!
So it's July, it's the middle of the year. I'm wondering if there's anything that you have done to sort of renegotiate your commitments to your goals, things that you're working on. Have you changed up your projects? Have you found new hobbies altogether? Have you been interested in learning new things? I would love to hear about you guys and what you're doing, what you're making, and where you are spending your time and where you're finding your greatest joy. Like, what is bringing you joy during this time? I would love to hear about all of that. That's it for today. If you like this episode, please do hit the like button. And if you would like to see more content like this, please do hit subscribe. And we come here every Friday sharing lots of things about the fiber arts, spinning, dyeing, color, all the things that make us happy. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. All right, bye for now.